Welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. Episode 108 is another interview with the amazing Maggie Guterl. Just a few weeks ago, Maggie won the inaugural Cocodona 250. Maggie was first female and 7th overall in a time of 85 hours, 32 minutes and 27 seconds. The Cocodona 250 links together some of the most iconic trails and times in Arizona for one monumental undertaking of 250 consecutive miles. The race starts in Black Canyon City at Rock Springs Cafe and traverses a continuous 250-mile point-to-point route ending in Flagstaff, Arizona. In this episode, we discuss how her nutrition and hydration plan went, how much sleep she had, and her high and low points. At the start of the conversation, we discussed the height of Flagstaff, which Maggie said was 7,400 feet, which I then went very intelligently on to say was just over 3,000 metres. I meant to say just over 2,000 metres, but in my defence, it was 4:45 a.m. for me, and I had not long woken up. I hope you enjoy the episode, and if you do, please go on over to Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you listen on to rate, review and subscribe. Nigel Hill too gave 5 stars and said, "It was a pleasure chatting to you about the race. Friendly podcast." Thanks so much, Nigel. I really enjoyed chatting with you too about Down Under. Rating and reviewing on whatever platform really helps grow the audience and the show. Thank you so much to everyone for your ongoing support. Are injuries or niggles ruining your enjoyment of running and hindering your performance? Get on top of these by seeing the specialists at Health and High Performance. They utilise the latest in technology and have an absolute wealth of experience. And in this way, the team at Health and High Performance can assist you with all your running, injury and performance needs. So, if you want to get back to enjoying your running and achieving the results you are capable of, head to healthhp.com.au/run or find them on Instagram, Health High Performance. They are very quick at replying to messages. Health and High Performance are located in Mont Albert, Melbourne, but are obviously available for telehealth appointments not only Australia-wide, but also around the world. Contact them on their website to find out more. Wild Earth Australia are the online store to help you make the most of the outdoors with top quality gear at awesome prices. Peak Endurance Podcast listeners can use the discount code Peak Endurance, all capitals, to get 10% off their already fantastic prices at checkout. Head on over to wildearth.com.au to get everything you need for your next adventure. Now, if you are looking to run further or faster than you ever have before, you will need to have a structured, individualised training program to help you get there. If you want to achieve the best you are capable of, email me, Isabel, at peakendurancecoaching.com.au, and we can get a program started. I really hope you enjoy this podcast as I chat with Maggie. Hi, Maggie, and welcome back to the Peak Endurance Podcast.
Hi, Isabel. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Now, congratulations on winning, I believe it was the inaugural Cocodona 250. So, yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm finally feeling like I have more energy. I was real tired, actually.
Yeah. Because how long has it been now?
Let's see. So I've had 2 weekends to recover and a full work week.
Yeah. And so before we talk about how the race went for you and all that sort of thing, can you just tell us a little bit about, the course itself, just to give the listeners an idea of when we talk about it, what you actually had experienced?
Yeah. So it's basically 250 miles through the state of Arizona, not the entire state, but
just about.
You start in Black Canyon City, which is pretty low and desert, and you end in Flagstaff, which is higher up, kind of mountain town, similar to Durango, Colorado, where I live. So you go through a variety of different ecosystems and different landscapes and stuff like that. So you're literally running through cactus and sand, and there's no shade, no trees really taller than your knee or something. to eventually climbing up to, the Cocodona Plateau, getting close to Flagstaff with giant ponderosa pines. So it was just really, really cool.
It sounds like it's
Super
beautiful
hot
course.
mostly the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And so the course itself, was it point to point or was it a big loop?
Yep, it's point to point. So you're basically going from which is a town that is 45 minutes north of Phoenix, Arizona, which is typically, for anyone who doesn't know, in the States, is Phoenix is like can be 120 consistently during the summer.
Oh, wow.
They've already hit 100 degrees like this spring multiple times.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and then Flagstaff is like a huge training ground for a lot of Olympians, runners and things like that, and that sits at I never know how to translate it to meters, but it's a higher town.
So what is it at? I
And
can't
stuff.
remember. What elevation is it at? Sorry.
It's like 7,400, I think.
Yeah.
7,400 feet.
Yeah. So that'd be just over 3,000 meters. Yeah.
3,000. That's what I was thinking.
Decent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You go through you go through Sedona, which is an amazing area here. A lot of red rocks and really cool rock formations, and is beautiful. The whole state just has like such a diverse range of like landscapes. It's really cool.
And so when you were running through the sandy sections, was that hard running through sand? Was it like horrible sand?
It wasn't too bad, but yeah, there would be sections that were, looser dirt. Whereas a lot of stuff here in Durango, it's almost like concrete because it's so clay-like and packed down. But yeah, the one climb, you have this section that's 20, it's in the first 50K and it's about 22 miles long. You have a little bit of down, but mostly you climb 8,000 feet up and down. And it's very steep, loose rock with, oh, did I lose you there? Okay.
No, all good.
My screen went off. I don't know why. And yeah, just you don't have very great footing because it is just like sandy surface. And very dry. So you're breathing in a lot of dust.
Yeah, I bet. And then with the heat and everything else. So you won it, like I said. So was your strategy going in to win it? What was your strategy going in for the race?
That's the first time I've done like a point to point like that. I'd run 250 miles once, but in the big backyard format.
Yes, that's right.
And, so this was like kind of felt real new to me. My goal was just to get there as fast as I could and try to just pass as many people as I could maybe or do whatever, I know there was some really experienced women running who had pretty good resumes for long distances. So, I was just going to do my best to kind of like stay in the front. But yeah, it was just more of an adventure experiment kind of to see what it was like.
And I think sometimes looking at it that way takes the pressure off too. So you tend to do better anyway.
Yeah. I was more excited just to see the whole course is unique. We're the first people that get to do it. I had never seen any of the course. And just to see, like, I pretty much figured I would not finish under 60 hours. So I'd run longer than I ever have, which was like a new experiment.
Yeah.
And
so how long was it in total anyway?
Total mileage or time?
Time.
85 hours, over 85 hours.
So it's quite a lot longer than 60 hours, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got to run for the whole third night, which I'd never done, and into a fourth day. So I finished before sunset on the fourth day.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. And so how did you sleep at all?
I did. I think I estimated 90 minutes of sleep total.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I took 3 longer naps of 20 minutes. And then once in a while I would lay down for just a trail nap when I just couldn't keep my eyes open. And that kind of piled up to what I think is maybe another 30 minutes of sleep. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. And so how do you cope with that feeling of, oh my God, I'm so tired? Like, because even a trail, a dirt nap on the trail, it really doesn't. It only probably lasts for an hour or so. So what do? Do you use caffeine? But there comes a point where even caffeine doesn't work. You just
Yeah,
push
I was
through.
trying to hold off on the caffeine and save that for the end,
Yeah,
you know. So I kind of dealt with the tiredness, and like you said, if a 2-minute nap worked for an hour to recharge me, I would do that.
yeah,
Because I think that would help me move faster for the hour.
yes.
And then eventually when those stopped working, then I would take the longer nap. So one of my 20-minute naps was just on the side of the trail.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, and that worked. That got me through into the day.
Yeah,
So, and then, yeah, that last kind of, by the fourth day, even I was tired even during the day. Usually the day would wake me
yeah,
up, circadian rhythm, you'd be
yeah.
awake. But that fourth day I was so tired. So we just started caffeine, no restraining. And
Oh, so
that,
you hadn't had much caffeine at all until then?
no, just a little in
Wow.
the mornings before daybreak, just to kind of wake me up and
Yeah,
get me
yeah.
going. I would try to, because like, yeah, it does stop working and I didn't want to
Yes. Yeah.
kind of ruin it for myself.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So something so long, I mean, how do you pace yourself? Because if you go off too hard at the start, you're going to be stuffed at the end. So like, how did you, especially because you haven't done something so long? I mean, I know you've done, close to, well, long, but how do you know how to pace yourself? Or does your body just know?
I don't know. That's like kind of the question, because Biggs, your pace is dictated for you and you just fall into the same
Yeah,
pace. And honestly, if you could do a Biggs pace at this race, you would have finished,
yeah.
a little over 60 hours, which would have been phenomenal. But Biggs doesn't have this elevation and it
Yeah,
definitely didn't have this heat. So, yeah, I just honestly, sometimes I feel like I just have a one pace type
yeah,
forever pace.
yeah.
I tried to go a little faster in the morning when we started to get out of the heat.
Yeah,
But I mean, everyone just suffered.
yeah,
And so, I just ran when I could, at a comfortable pace as
yeah.
long as I could, and hiked when I needed to. And I just kept going at that pace. I mean, I didn't hold back or too much, just because I think you eventually slow down from fatigue. So, I figured my legs could handle just trying to run
And
in
how
the
much were
beginning
you
a
running
lot.
towards the end?
I don't know. I feel like I was running a lot, wherever I could, if
Yeah.
it was flat or downhill or, but I don't think that was fast. So it's hard to tell. When
Yeah.
does it become walking? I don't know. You're
That's
doing the
good.
running motion, but your pacer is walking. So I don't know.
I know. Oh, that's funny. And so did you have a pacer with you the whole time?
So you're allowed to have pacers at 74 miles. And I originally was like, well, I'll start at 100.
Yeah.
They had 6 pacers lined up. And yeah, I it was just taking longer. And one of my pacers was helping crew, my buddy Kyle that lives here in Durango. And I said, do you want to pace earlier at like 74? And he's like, I'll be ready. Which is nice, because that was like kind of beginning into the first night.
Yeah.
And I was pretty sleepy that night.
Yeah.
Usually I'm not tired the first night. So it
Oh
was nice
no.
having someone to time your trail naps for
Yeah.
you.
And just for safety, like when you're feeling sleepy, it's good to have someone there.
And it was nice too. We went through the town of Prescott that first night. And so there's a lot of streets and turns, and it was nice to have someone help
Yeah.
navigate.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can just focus on just putting one foot in front of the other rather than working out where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. So how did your nutrition and hydration go?
Yeah. My plan the first day, because I know they talked about the heat, was to just stick with Tailwind for liquid, because I do much better in the heat when I'm not having to digest anything.
Yeah.
I ran out of Tailwind 2.5 hours before the aid station on that
Oh
climb.
no.
I took 3 liters with me and I ran out. So I got to the aid station, chugged a ton of water, and threw off my electrolytes. So I was pretty nauseous for a while, but eventually I just stabilized, drank Tailwind, and actually got by on I think like 85% of my calories were from Tailwind.
Wow.
It wasn't the plan. I just couldn't do food. Like I would try
Yeah.
to at night, and it was working. So I just kept doing it. I lost my taste buds eventually. It's just from all the sugar and whatever, but it worked. So I just kept doing it. Like,
So you didn't have like solid food when you met up with your crew and that sort of stuff?
I tried. We would do mashed potatoes or soup, but everything tasted really bland. So I never really like, I would try to finish like a cup of the mashed potatoes or the soup. And I don't know, a couple times maybe I did, but um, it wasn't as much as I had planned. I was trying hoping to get down at least like 400 to 500 calories of solid food to stop, but I really didn't. So the tailwind saved me, but that wasn't my plan.
Yeah. But sometimes, and I think that's part of it, is being able to adapt and, and just go with it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it worked. So.
And so did you use poles during the race, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I trained with them all winter and every year for Barkley, so I was comfortable with them, and they do save your legs. So, only a couple sections I didn't have them for, which to give my hands a rest, or it was just more runnable. So, yeah, they were a huge save. Like,
and I mean, I agree. It's really important to train with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you train for something that long?
So I trained for Barkley all winter.
Yeah.
And I figured, I was going to put all my eggs in the Barkley basket, but you know how it goes. And so that, it was 6 weeks after Barkley, and I felt really good during Barkley, and the training went well. And I just, I tried to do more running this year in the winter, and not just focus on vert. So I think that helped prepare a bit. But, Barkley, you're training for a 60-hour endeavor with like ridiculous amounts of climbing. So after Barkley, I just kind of rested and then did more running. I didn't do much vert at all.
But I suppose you had it in your legs and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes your legs durable, and I think that's like really what you need. I wasn't that fast, but you don't need to be. Just keep.
Just consistent. And so just stepping back for a minute. So you did do Barkley. Do you want to just quickly tell the listeners how that went, just quickly?
Yeah, I went like Barkley goes. It was like torrential downpour overnight. I had this feeling, because he has never started the race at 3 a.m. like around that time. It's always been before 2 or after like 4:30 or something. Or so sure enough, like the rain died down, and I think I finally drifted off to sleep, and then we heard the blow. And so we started at like 3:04. It was dark. It wasn't pouring, but the fog was just terrible. And the times on the first loop were really slow. We were right behind Jared Campbell. We thought we were doing well. And this year, as the timing device, he gives you a timing device. You can't bring your own watch. He gave us a metal pocket watch.
I saw that.
You can't refer to it easily. You get out of your bag and whatever. So I finally looked at it.
You have to click it open too, don't you?
Yeah. And I was like, this is really slow. I'm like, we're already, it was like 7.5 hours to the tower, which is not good, because that means you're doing like a 10-hour lap, or 10.5 or something. And so we were one of the few people to make it back out on a second lap and finish the second lap. We were 12 minutes over time. But the conditions didn't improve. We kind of thought they would, but the fog was just incredible, and it was super cold as it got a little bit warm during the day, and then super cold, and that's never good.
I've seen a short video on it, and it looked like horrendous conditions.
It never gave us a break. So but that's how it is. And
well, that's the Barkley, isn't it?
Barkley ended short again.
But then I guess, like you said, so Cocodona was 6 weeks after. Is that what you were saying? So you were, I mean, I guess you would be ready for that then. Like you didn't have a long recovery time to worry about.
So it was like what was our time? 26-hour something long run, and then a little bit of a break, and then eventually at some point I kind of just built back up and then rested. So it worked out.
And so with the Cocodona race, and you were up for so long, do you hallucinate?
Usually, yeah. And I mean, I did see like little things, like a lot of man-made objects, or I kept thinking I saw the top of the aid station tent multiple
Ah,
times. I didn't, nothing super exciting this time. I don't have any good stories.
oh, bummer.
Yeah, a couple of times just I kept seeing cars. I thought I was in a parking lot. Maybe that was the aid station and it was just rocks or something like that. I saw like I would see people standing behind trees that maybe had like, like the masks on, or we're used to seeing people, and then they would disappear, but like nothing super exciting.
So you normally do hallucinate a bit, do you, in these long things?
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if my eyes were closed so much because I was so tired that I didn't see anything.
Do you do that sometimes? Do you sort of go along with your eyes shut just to rest them a bit?
I tried on the dirt road a couple times, beginning of the third night, because it was just a dirt road.
Yeah.
I don't know how people do that. I don't know who says they can actually fall asleep while running, because I can't.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine falling asleep, but I know I've closed my eyes before, just, on a flat road like that where you can't trip, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so was there anything memorable or unusual that happened in the race at all?
Well, it was memorable having friends with me to kind of show up. I had some people I know from the Tailwind ambassador team. Amy and David were my crew members, and then I had a team of like 6 all-star pacers, which was really fun.
Yes, you did.
I had a pacer, kind of like a couple people did 2 sections, or like a couple they rested and then would pace again. But it was just fun having a different face every time, and even if I wasn't super talkative, they would be somewhat fresh. Or
Yeah. And
that
do you
was
think that sort of kept you awake a bit, was having, new people to be with and that sort of thing, and kept you maybe more with it?
Yeah, it gave me something to look forward to. My one friend Brian Tinder paced me through the third night. We started like around midnight, and he paced me all the way to like early morning, until I picked up Courtney for the last 20 miles. But I was so tired that night, but he was so patient. He was the one that was finally like, I was taking like 2 to 4 minute naps very frequently, I guess, at some point. And he's like, just take a 20-minute nap. And so I was like, what are you going to do? And he's like, I'm just going to sit here. And so he sat in the dark listening to coyotes while I took a 20-minute nap.
Oh, good on him.
Yeah, it helped. I got there in the morning, daybreak, and so that was nice. It's just like everybody was so patient, because I know it wasn't fast, and it was much later, half a day later than they thought they were going to see me. So it was cool.
Oh, that's good. And how many crew and pacers did you have in total? You said you had 6 pacers. So
so I had 2 crew members, Amy and David, that live in their van part-time. So it was perfect. They didn't pace. So they were strictly crew, and they actually came to more spots than we originally talked about, because they're like, no, we'll see you in 14 miles instead of 28. And so that was cool. And then my pacers were Nicole and Zach Bitter, who live in Phoenix and are used to running much faster, and they had to slow down big time. And then Courtney and her husband, Kevin, and my friend Brian Tinder, who lives in Flagstaff, who's a great runner, and Kyle Curtin, who he won the Tahoe 200 one year. He actually passed Courtney at mile 180 and was able to beat her, which few people can say they ever have done.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a good sized crew. And so you're saying you saw them more often. Was there set places for the crew, or could they just meet you anywhere?
No, set places. So you could only go to crew spots. Not every spot was a crew spot. So some are either on a road that the runners ran on and they didn't want a lot of traffic, or they were just hard to get to. But yeah, there was originally, we talked about 9 places to go, and I think they ended up going to 11 or 12. So
why did that change? Did you just feel you needed more support during the time?
Yeah, just because it was getting those time was so much longer in between, and they kind of made the call. They were like, no, we're going to the next one, just to make sure, in case they needed anything, or it was hotter and whatever. So it was really nice. That was great.
So did you run out of fluids again or anything like that after that first time? Did that happen?
I think every day I ran out of fluid.
Oh, really? Oops, you've just dropped out for a second. Hang on.
I think I lost you. Oh,
sorry, what was that?
Sorry.
You ran out of fluids each day?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, my internet's like really bad right now. Yeah, I ran out of liquids every section during the day. So I think if anyone does this, take more than you think you need every time.
But it's so heavy too, isn't it? That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you got to trade off. Do you want to be thirsty and depleted or carry weight?
Were your paces allowed to carry anything for you?
No, technically they're no muling. So I think maybe a couple times they would try to squirt water on me or something, but that's the most I'd allow them to do.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And you know, that evens the playing field for everyone. Did anyone in the race have no paces?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how many, but we ran with one runner for 19 miles. His name was Trevor. And he actually finished 8th, I think, just behind me. He never runs with pacers, but we ran with him for 19 miles on the second night when I was with Zach Bitter. So that was fun company. It was the most I ran with one runner.
Yeah, so I was going to say that. Did you see many other runners out there?
Yeah, I got pretty spaced out. So, I mean, after the first night, periodically you would pass someone once in a while or vice versa, but that was it. Third day, I don't think I saw. I think I passed one runner and that was it. Yeah.
So we spoke about sort of memorable moments. What about like a high point and a low point? Was there any of those?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, every time seeing my crew was a high point, picking up a new pacer. I mean, finishing was a high point, not because I was done. It just was such a cool finish with the live stream. And, you know, I mean, that was kind of like, oh, they really want to follow me this long. But I ran through Buffalo Park and Flagstaff, and it was this mix of people who didn't know what was going on, and drones overhead, and 2 guys running with cameras, and I'm running with Courtney, and, you know, then other people who are there to spectate and cheer you on. So it was pretty fun and really memorable. And then, you know, just climbing up each big climb that you got to the top of was like one more climb down, which was really nice. And I mean, the low parts was like, I never had any like super crazy mental lows where I was like, oh, but maybe after, I think the first night, I was really hypothermic at the 1 aid station. I didn't expect to be out that long, and I'm wearing this like damp cotton shirt, nothing. So I was like shivering and trying to get to my crew. I like run out of food and everything, because this is when I was starting to learn that like you need to take more than you think each time, because I didn't expect that section to be so tedious and technical. So that was probably the lowest point. But then it just turned around and got pretty stable from there.
Yeah. So did it get, because it was so hot during the day and it's like desert, like did it get really cold during the night?
That particular night, yeah, because we went up to 7. Again, we were up at pretty high, above 7,000 feet. So yeah, it was a bit colder. The second night, I was lower the whole time. And so mostly I ran in a t-shirt until, you know, right before morning always gets a little chilly, but that was it. The third night was cold. I left because we were up on the Cocodona plateau heading to Flagstaff at that point. So I left the aid station and at midnight wearing like a puffy coat, which I've never run in before. So I'd take it off or put it on. It was great for the nap because I took the 20-minute nap. I could just put my coat on and I wasn't cold. That's the most clothes I've ever run in, and it wasn't that cold, but you know, your body's been through so many temperature changes.
I was going to say, and the more fatigued you get, the more you feel all of those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think a lot of runners were wearing puffy coats that night.
Yeah, thank God for the puffies. And did you train at all on the course as part of your training?
Nope, I never got out there. So I had done the Eldon climb visiting Flagstaff. That was the last climb.
Yeah.
I was familiar with it, but everything else was new. It was cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And sometimes it's good to know a course, but yeah, you can see it more as an adventure or a challenge if you don't actually know the course physically either.
Yeah, it was fun. It was all like, what's next?
Yeah. Do you normally prefer to train on a course?
If I can, it's always a huge advantage. But for this, just because I don't know, it's just gonna be what it was, and I mean, I had the elevation profile, and my crew would kind of tell me what was coming next, so you could be ready with gear or whatever. But yeah, for that, it was just fun to have it be a surprise.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Now, how do you recover from something that long?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I rested last week. I didn't do anything. I didn't even try to cross train it. Finally, this past weekend, I went on a couple hikes. And today I ran 2 miles for the first time. And and for all of May, I think I'm just going to take it easy and reset.
Yeah. That sounds like a good plan. And were you like really hungry after?
Yeah, eventually, not the first day, but then by like Sunday, Monday, I think finally kept up, and was eating a lot of junk too. But then I would wake up. It's great. You wake up and you feel like you did this crazy workout the day before, even though you didn't do anything. And eventually it levels out.
Yeah. And when did your taste buds come back?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It took a few days, maybe like 3 days. I lost my voice completely after getting out of the shower after finishing the race on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And I didn't get my voice back until maybe Wednesday when I was audible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it didn't sound great, but I could speak.
And so what do you think made you lose your voice?
I think it was all the dust. I started coughing and getting this like phlegmy, gross stuff coming up pretty early. Yeah. And I developed this cough, and I think just also running out of fluids so many times, I don't think that helped.
Yeah.
And by the end of the race, I had just pretty bad cough, and my voice hurt, and it just went away, and I had a cough. Felt like I had COVID, no taste buds. I had a cough. My body.
You had all the symptoms, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
run Cocodona, get COVID.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, we've got to laugh, don't we? It's depressing otherwise. And so, now that you're focused on recovery, what are you planning on to be next for you?
Yeah, I have just a 100-miler coming up, which is scary.
All night, a sprint.
It's at the end of July, High Lonesome 100. It's in the mountains over here in Colorado, like in the Sawatch Range, a little bit, kind of closer to where Leadville is. And I don't know, I'm going to have to work on speed, I guess, because that's a much faster race than I've been training for.
So, wow, July, that's not long.
Yeah, end of July. So I got all of May to just chill and then kind of ramp up in June and see how I feel. So I'll get a good solid 6 weeks of training in, I think, before.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
And your body copes with that many sort of events, like big events?
I usually try to pick like 3 a year, and it seems good. This will be 4, but like, you know, Barkley isn't always whatever. And I think after a 100-miler, the recovery won't be crazy. So we'll see. Yeah.
So that's July. So what does that leave you then for the rest of the year if you've already had 4?
Yeah, that would be 3 events, and then I'll just do bigs in October.
Oh, of course. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, then that's July to October. That's a decent break then too, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll get midway through August. I think it'll only take a couple weeks of some easy running after the 100-miler. We'll see. It'll be a good like segue into the bigs training or something.
Yeah. And so as part of your recovery, you're saying about doing hikes and cross training. What sort of cross training do you normally do to recover from a race?
I have many bikes. it's like my boyfriend got really into bikes, so I have a mountain bike, a gravel bike, and
Yeah.
so we'll do some bike stuff. But I'm just hiking, and
Yeah.
the mountains are melting out, so that's a lot of slow, just steep hiking that I'll get into this summer. And yeah, just like those are my main cross training things that I'll do.
Yeah, I certainly know the bikes can be quite addictive in getting nice bikes and that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I do find cycling helps to strengthen the legs a lot as well. Do you find that?
Yeah, I've never done it like super consistent, but a lot of people have said that. And
Yeah.
I mean, you go for a bike ride here and you're like, oh, this is going to be easy. Just like I bought a gravel bike because I was like, oh, this will be an easy recovery thing, but it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Because your legs are your suspension and everything's like up or down here.
Yeah.
I think it's a good complement to running.
Yeah. And what did you learn, any lessons from that run that you can take forward into bigs?
Just a better understanding of how the sleep deprivation, and just being used to having that feeling of not being able to stay awake. And that's the main takeaway. I don't know if it's figured out or not, but just having the confidence that I went 85 hours, maybe I can make it 100 hours or whatever. Like, so it's just all kind of experience to help pull from.
And what do you reckon? What? I mean, I know you can't really say, but do you reckon bigs will go even longer this time than it has before?
I think it'll go beyond 72 hours this year. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Whether we get to over 100 or not, I don't know, but it'll go over 3 days. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
And that's a bit harder to navigate with the sleep time because you certainly can't get a 20-minute nap there, can you?
Yeah. So you're going to have to survive on the 7-minute naps or whatever it is. And again, like, with Cocodona, I knew that I was 20 miles, 30 miles, whatever, from the finish, that this was the last day I would be running. So I could go all the caffeine.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you don't know when to turn it on at bigs, you just don't know.
Yeah, that is hard.
To be strategic still until the very end.
And so do you think you would do this race again?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know about next year. Hopefully I'll be too tired from Barkley one of these years. I won't be able to. But yeah, I would love to do it again. I think it was beautiful. And, if I do it a little faster, I'll be at different parts of it during the light and maybe like see some things that I missed or something.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. And once the world opens up again, do you have any plans to race overseas?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to do Tarawera, but it wasn't happening, and I think they got bought by another company now, so I don't know if Tailwind is still associated, or maybe they are. I'm not sure. I would have to revisit that with Mark from Tailwind New Zealand, but I also was talking to a filmmaker who comes to bigs named Bjorn, who was talking about the spine race and maybe coming over there. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. All these things are in like the spring or winter, which kind of affects Barkley. So it's like so hard to like really plan. That's the thing. It's like, do I want to keep trying for Barkley? I mean, I do, but there's so many other races. So it's a good problem to have, I guess.
Yeah, it is a good problem to have. And I mean, I guess like with Barkley, it's one of those races they say that you've got to do it quite a few times to kind of nail it.
Yeah. And even if you think you got it, all the pieces figured out, like the weather might have a different plan, and
that's it.
So just gotta keep doing it.
So what number would next year be? How many times would that be then?
For Barkley, if I get in, yeah.
I'm sure you'll get in.
We'll see. I mean, all the international people will be coming back.
Yes. Well, hopefully.
Hopefully. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, oh well, that's exciting then, and hopefully you do get in, because I think they say 3 to 4 times, and if the weather was good, then that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. All righty. Well, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. We really appreciate it,
Yeah, it's always good chatting with you.
and enjoy the rest of your recovery of May. Not much time left, but and good luck for the miler. Are you going for the win at the miler, do you think, or you don't want to say?
Well, there's a lot of really competitive, fast, strong women. And I feel like this is a little out of my wheelhouse now, like the 100 miler. At first I thought, yeah, the longer distances were my wheelhouse, like 100 milers. And now I'm like, yeah, multi-days. So I really don't know. I'll do my best. The goal is finished because it's a hard rock qualifier and I'll need one of those too.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, well, good luck with that. And yeah, good luck with your recovery and good luck with the miler.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.